Welcome back to Groomer Tales, a podcast by Groomer's Choice. I'm your host, Natasha. Today's guest is Sam Hollenbeck, owner of Grooms by Sam LLC, a home-based grooming salon in rural Missouri. Sam shares how she went from aspiring veterinarian to business owner, how winning the Groomer's Choice Great Groomer giveaway helped transform her grooming space, and why creating a calm, one-on-one experience for pets is at the heart of everything she does. And just a little quick heads up, there are a couple of brief technical difficulties throughout this episode due to our virtual recording, but we hope you enjoy the conversation. So let's get started. On Groomer Tales, I like it to be about just origin stories, and I like to start from the start. So where are you from originally? Did you always know you wanted to work in the pet animal space, or was there some other dream when you were growing up?
Growing up, I always said I wanted to be a vet, and so I always had a natural draw towards animals and everything. I grew up in central Illinois, middle of nowhere, ended up moving to Missouri when I got accepted into college here, and then that just didn't pan out, and so I ended up kind of going on a path. I went to hair school for a minute, and then at that point, then I was offered a grooming apprenticeship. I just walked into a groomer office or groomer's shop one day and was like, if you guys ever need help, here's my phone number. And they called me. And then I started my apprenticeship there.
Oh, cool. Were you going to college for vet stuff then, or was it something else?
Yeah, it was in the very, very beginning. Like I had done like some gen eds and stuff like that. And then I went to Truman and it was like biology and, just animal sciences and stuff like that. But things in life changed and I just kind of pivoted and ended up where I am now.
So how long did you apprentice for then?
I was with that shop about 2 years and then things just kind of fizzled out there and I went to work at a veterinarian's office. So again, working with animals, and I would do a little bit of grooming here and there for her as well as needed. And then went and worked at another shop and then decided to work for myself.
Yeah. And going out on your own and working for yourself, was that something you always kind of wanted to do, or just how did that come about?
I would say so. I am definitely, I don't want to say like severely ADHD, but I just feel like I blossom well like in an environment where I can kind of have control over everything. And the shops that I worked at were great, but it was just kind of always in the back of my mind to be my own boss, if you will. And so when we found out we were pregnant with our second child, I was like, all right, now's the time. And my husband built a room in the garage, and that's where it all kind of took off from there, being my own boss. And we're 2.5 years in now, so it's been great.
Have you ever done much competitive grooming, or is that something you'd like to do?
No, I get way too nervous about things like that. I went to the Hershey Expo one time with my previous boss, and I thought about doing the rescue, that thing would be fun, but I just get way too nervous. I would be a wreck and the dog would know it and it would be a disaster.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's for everybody. I understand it's a lot.
Yes, it would be for sure.
Everybody's just watching you.
Oh, no.
Do you do much creative grooming in your shop?
I do have some color on hand. I do have one standard poodle that I see, and we've done some fun colors on her, and just some colored shampoos here and there, but nothing really wild.
Your shop is called Grooms by Sam LLC, and like you said, it's on your property. You kind of groom out of your garage / shed kind of thing.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, we have a 2-car garage, and then in the furthest bay, like from the house, my husband, he knows carpentry, and so he literally built me a box, all the walls and the ceiling and everything, and it's got heat and air, and so it's about a 10 by 10 space, so I can go straight from the tub, turn around, and put them on my table, and it's about the right space for one person. I have told him I would like about another 2 feet on each side, but for where I'm at now, that with life and everything, it's perfect.
Does it have its own door? So like
Yeah.
okay.
It's its own whole separate thing. So dogs are secure in there with me the whole time, and the door has a lock and latch if I need to, you know. I'm always
Yeah.
scared they'll pop open the door, but even then they'll still be secure in the garage. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it's its own little space. It's a cute little room.
I was just curious because I've talked to some other groomers that do grooming out of their house, and sometimes the setup's not ideal where the customer has to walk through, or the pet parent walks through your
Mhm.
house or something, and they're like, well, I'd prefer to have
No.
my own door, but yeah, yeah.
Yes. So I always just meet my client outside, and
Okay,
I bring an
gotcha.
extra slip leash, and then I'm like, okay, everybody knows the routine. All the clients that I have now, they're all regulars. I've stopped taking new people this last year, so they know the routine. They'll know I'll step out and grab them, and then we'll head on to the garage.
So with starting your own business, what was the biggest hurdle in launching?
Finances, honestly. Yeah. So when I saw the opportunity for the Great Groomer giveaway, I was like, all right, let's give it a shot, because at the time, the table that I have, I bartered Grooms for. So that was really nice. That person helped me out, able to get a hydraulic table that way, which then I could take more clients that way. And then when I won the Great Groomer giveaway, the tub has literally changed my life. And so it would have taken me a long time and potentially even a loan or something, to take that or to get something like that magnitude and that expense. So yeah, it was a big help getting that. And that has been able to help me take on more
Right.
clientele of larger sizes.
It's like you read my mind because my next question was going to be about the giveaway. So,
Yeah.
so for those that don't know, if you're listening, a couple years ago for was it the 26th birthday of Groomer's Choice? 27?
Yeah, it was right there.
Yeah, because Groomer's Choice's birthday is in September. So we did a great groomer giveaway. Groomer's Choice started in a garage. So we were like, we want to help a groomer out there that's starting. It didn't have to actually be a garage, but starting, in a garage or metaphorically in a garage. So it was $5,000 that you could spend on anything at groomerschoice.com. You had to submit a video, and you submitted a video and you won. Yeah.
It was
And then,
crazy.
yeah. And then we sat down as a marketing team and picked our top 3 out of all the people. And then it was a vote because we didn't want to have to actually pick the win. You know what I mean? That's so stressful to like.
For sure, for sure. No, it's been totally, totally life changing. Even to this day, I still am like, did I really like when that, obviously I know I did because I have the stuff, but it's just really wild.
And yeah, so with the $5,000, you bought a new tub, and then what else did you kind of, just for the people that don't know, what
So,
did you?
yeah, the tub took about half, I would say. And then I wanted to stock myself. I got all new sets of blades. I got a whole set of the wide blades. I got the whole set of the wide blade clipper comb attachments, more shears that I can even remember. I have a lot, like a drawer full now. And then after that, with the remainder, I just stocked up on some shampoo and
Mhm.
other things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest things were getting the supplies, the big expenses.
And you mentioned it's helped your business, but what would you say the impact on your business has been since winning it? Because you could probably you could take on bigger dogs even since you didn't have
Yeah,
to bend over as much and all that kind of stuff.
right, exactly. The stock tank that I was grooming or bathing in before was just killing my back, and I couldn't take larger dogs or really dogs with like mobility problems because they would have to go up a couple steps, make a hard turn, and step into the tub, and it just wasn't the greatest setup. And so now my older dogs, some that have arthritis and stuff, I can lower that tub all the way down, and it helps a lot with that. My biggest thing is comfort, and I just want to keep everybody comfortable. And for myself too, the biggest impact is my back doesn't hurt as much anymore. I can really bring them up to me. So it's just helped me be more accommodating to my clients.
So what went through your mind when you found out you won? I mean, you looked pretty surprised, but
I was just really shocked and just grateful too, because it's just a really, really big opportunity. And for me to just, I'm a mom. That's my full-time job. I'm a mom. So everything goes to my kids. And I knew that I needed stuff for the business, but I could never justify either taking out a loan, or which I understand people do that totally. But for me in my position, I was like, I don't want to take out a loan, and I don't want to, take from the kids. And so for that has just been really, really big blessing for me and for my business too, because I love to do it and I want to
Mhm.
be able to do it for a really long time. So for that to come along and bless me with that essentially has made me really feel grateful.
How old are your kids now?
So my oldest is 6 and my youngest is about to turn 3.
All right.
So yeah, so Grooms by Sam started right after my youngest had been born. So she's been
Cool.
with me this whole journey, yeah.
Are they helping mom in the salon at all yet?
Yeah, so in the beginning I was like, well, maybe I can learn how to groom with her, but with the hair and the noise and all that. So I pivoted there, but my oldest, she will come out with me. I had my foster dog. He lives with a grooming client of mine now, and she just loves him. We had him for about 9 months, and I was like, well, why don't you come out here and help me? And I was teaching her how to do the blow dryer, and she helps with our personal dog and stuff like that too. And there's been several times where she said, I want to be a groomer like mom. So I told her, I was like, well, maybe this summer, when you're home, we can get you out there and you can help me a little bit.
Ooh, it's gonna
Yeah,
be. We're gonna pass it down through the generations.
hey, she can be my bather or my prepper for me or something, but she wants to help, so I will encourage it if she wants to.
You mentioned you hadn't been in business very long when the giveaway came across your social
Yeah.
media, I'm assuming. So, what made you enter? Were you just thinking just on a whim, or, what made you say, I got to do this?
I felt like my decision was pretty intentional. Just something inside me says go for it. I'm really not one to really put myself out there to crowds or do videos and stuff like this. And so I was like, all right, this is here. It's a good opportunity, and it could really be life changing for me and for the business. And so I was like, all right, let's do this. And I recorded like 9 million videos, and then I sat down and edited it for hours and hours and hours on end, and everything, and obsessed over it like I do. And yeah, I got good feedback from people who I'd send it to, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then so I did it.
There you go. And that's funny too. It was one of those things where, and just social media in general, or you want to like catch attention right away, but you have so much you want to say, but you don't want it to
Hmm.
be boring, but you don't want it to be this. And
Yes, yes, yes. And I don't know, I just wanted to be intentional and just like humble. I guess connected to the story that it started in the garage. I'm like, hey, me too.
was the main thing you wanted if you won was a tub? Was that I know you did talk
Mhm.
about the tub obviously in your video, but was that like
Yeah.
the main inspiration?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Because, I can buy a couple $100, pair of shears, and I can buy blades as needed, stuff like that. But to have a couple $1,000 expense without wanting to take on, a large overhead, it was so helpful. I knew longevity wise, if I stayed in the stock tank, my body wouldn't be able to handle it.
Was the stock tank, did you go with that when you were kind of designing just because it's what was available, or you didn't realize it would be so hard
My
on you?
husband is really handy, and so like he was able to raise it up some. I wasn't totally on the ground. It was on about a 2-foot riser, but still, I'm very short. I'm only 4'11". So for me to get bent over in a tank and washing a foot, it was really hard, really,
And
really hard.
and I suppose it is one of those things, like, until you do it a few times, you don't realize how
Yeah, yeah.
inconvenient it really is.
And when I was setting up my room and thinking about what to do and how to make it work, I was like on, Pinterest. I'm like, oh, someone made a bathing tub with a stock tank. We'll just try that. And while it looks good and it was efficient for the purpose, it just was a backbreaker. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that was the biggest thing. And I knew that with winning the 5,000 that the tub would take the majority of it, which was totally fine. Like I said, I still was able to stock up on scissors and blades and everything I needed. Which I don't work in super high volume. And so like when I say this, I don't want people to be like, man, this girl never works, because I do, but I also have kids. I haven't really had to buy blades since, just because I take good care of my stuff, and
Hmm.
I was strategic. I made sure to stock up.
I mean, yeah, you got to work smarter, not harder, right? Which is why
Yes,
you wanted the
absolutely.
different tub in the first place.
Exactly. Yes.
I remember you saying, because we had you do a little, or we asked you to do a little blog
Yeah.
piece after you had gotten your stuff. And I think you said something in there. It might have been about the wide blades and the shears, about how like
Mm,
you almost had to relearn because they were brand new
yeah.
and sharp and you had never had anything brand
Yeah.
new like that, or it'd been a long time since you had brand new.
It's been a minute. I started my first grooming shears were off of Amazon, Lily's Pet, that brand. But as I progressed, I would buy some more shears and stuff like that. And the gal that I worked for before, she bought us all nice scissors, and so I had that. But then when I first started, I bought kind of like a mid brand by myself, and it was fine. But then getting the Kinshis, I was like, woo, very sharp, very sharp, very. So I had to slow down, and just relearn, safety, I guess. I'm terrified of cutting someone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even knives in your kitchen, if you go get them
Yeah.
sharpened or something, you're like, oh, I gotta
Yeah.
be careful.
This is dangerous. Yeah, for sure. Like the shink shink noise, Ooh, that just sounds like it would hurt.
What for you is the most rewarding part of your job?
Really it's the relationships that I establish, not just with the clients, I love them too, but the relationships that I've established with the pets. I've got several dogs that are like, not the biggest fans of going to the groomer, or several that say going into a larger salon with more barking dogs and stuff like that was really stressful. And just to have my clients tell me, but also to see in the dog themselves that they're calm and they're comfortable, and the owner, will tell me they just did so much better here versus somewhere else, because at my place there's no other dogs. My own
Mhm.
personal dog is in my house, but the sole focus is them, and we just kind of chill and establish the relationship. That's what means the most to me, is just that this pet trusts me, the dog trusts me, and the client trusts me too.
I think for a lot of dogs that is beneficial, the one-on-one, or
Mhm.
there's not a lot of other noises, or,
Yeah,
just stuff going on.
it can be overwhelming and overstimulating for sure, especially with the seniors who have some heart conditions, especially, can be a
Hmm.
lot.
I feel like even for some people that would be a lot going on in
Oh
one room.
gosh. Yeah, definitely. That's why I wanted to be on my own, so I could, not have constant chaos. So I get it.
What's one grooming misconception you wish more pet parents understood?
That it's easy, or, like that it's easy, or that it can be done really quickly and things like that, which I'm very, very grateful for the clientele that I have now. Like, I don't have to work with someone who expects their dog to be in and out in an hour and look great, like I can just do my thing.
I love to ask this question, especially with the doodle craze and stuff, but
Yeah.
how do you try to educate your clients without making them feel bad or to feel judged?
Right. I definitely don't want anyone to ever feel bad or feel judged. I've been doing this long enough that I've seen all kinds of things, and I always assure people that. And sometimes they'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. He or she, is so dirty." I'm like, if your dog is dirty, I would, or if your dog never got dirty, then I wouldn't have a job. So it's okay, or its tail is a little tangled. If a dog's tail is tangled, it just makes me think that their tail's wagging all the time. They're happy. So, but with newer clients, or if they're just getting a dog, or we're having a rough time with the coat, I like to send them like the tools and stuff that they need for home care, the brushes and the combs and the sprays and stuff like that. But also just really encourage them to get on a more regular schedule. That's the biggest thing. If you can't maintain the coat, then we definitely need to go shorter. And most of the time, people are receptive to that kind of thing because they'll be like, oh, I want it long and fluffy. And then they realize how much work long and fluffy is.
Exactly. Like I just cut 6 inches off my hair because it was too much work. So, I mean,
Oh,
I get
yeah.
it.
Yes, this is the longest mine's been in a very long time, and it's driving me insane. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
have said it 100 times. If I had a haircut dog, they would be short all the time because it's just a lot of maintenance. And I understand life is very busy, so sometimes the dog doesn't get brushed.
You mentioned you did hair school for a little bit.
Mhm.
Do you see any similarities or like what are the similarities and differences in the people
Mhm.
hair world, hygiene
Yes.
world, and the dog world?
Yeah, so that I feel like going through hair school and having the clipper knowledge and the scissor knowledge definitely kind of set me ahead, almost had that all down, and so I wasn't as nervous like when it came to actually using the tools themselves. But people usually don't move, for you around. People like adults, children is a little bit different, but an adult, will sit in the chair for you and will face forward and behave. But with a dog, it's not always the case, and so you kind of have to learn to move and adapt with them. And that's definitely the biggest thing. But there's a big similarity too, just hair splinters. I knew what hair splinters were before coming a dog groomer. So yeah, that was a bit different. Human hair and the dog hair is a little bit different, but still it'll still stick you the same.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny after I've worked here a couple of years now, and so when I go get my hair done, it is kind of funny just even picking my hairstylist brain a little bit about and not even so much the tools, but just I'm in the pro groomer network and things like that where groomers are
Hmm.
talking about their pricing or commission, and some of that is
Right.
similar, so
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting to talk to her sometimes about some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And people would be like, "Oh, my dog groom costs more than my own hair and stuff like that." But we're scrubbing from nose to tail. Your hairdresser's only dealing with what's up here.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference. I bet if your hairdresser had to scrub some of the areas we did, she'd probably charge a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the big one I always hear is like,
Yeah.
yeah, but she didn't express your anal gland, so I don't know
Yeah,
what like
exactly, exactly. So, yeah.
or a sanitary trim or yeah,
Literally, I would
it's a little
die.
different. What personal values or beliefs do you bring into your work that maybe have stemmed from like how you were brought up or just certain life experiences?
I've just always been, well, the background, I guess, my dad was a conservation police officer my entire life. He did that for
Wow.
almost 30 years. Yeah. So I always had the, core values, treat others how you want to be treated, but also just take care of animals, the pets that you have, that's your responsibility. Take good care of them, take them to the vet, and just the animals around you. Like my dad, I was never allowed to pick up an animal outside. Oh, this poor baby abandoned bunny, like I knew as a kid I was never allowed to do stuff like that. And so I think that just harbored just a love for animals inside of me, and it's just progressed over these years, and I've always just had a more natural draw to animals versus people.
With your dad's job, did you have a lot of pets growing up or not so much?
No, no, we really didn't. It was like pulling teeth just to let him get me a fish when I was a kid. But I feel like he just knew, that having an animal is hard. And he was very busy, and my mom was very busy. And so we always had a dog, but nothing really past that.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of cool, a conservation officer. So did he work
Yeah.
in parks and stuff?
Yeah, so in Illinois, it's based a little bit differently. He had ability, like he could run radar, he could pull people over. He had a canine dog for a while, and they would go walk through campgrounds and, stuff like that. So I got to see a lot of really cool stuff. Like, he brought a fox home one time that had been injured, and he had to come home and grab something before he could leave. And so we saw a few things here and there, but yeah, we didn't ever have a lot of animals around.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I would have loved it.
Yeah, I feel like it goes one of two ways when your parents kind of work. You either have a zoo
Yeah.
at home or they're like, I deal with it all
Yes.
day. I don't want to see it.
Yes, exactly. That's probably why I have a zoo of my own to this day. I've got 30 something chickens and quail and guineas and all that. We just have one dog now, but and a cat. So, I've collected my own little zoo.
But because you're kind of out on a farm, right? Or like a,
Yeah, we are a little bit rural outside of town. It takes my customers like 10 minutes to get
okay.
here, just about a mile down on gravel, but we've got about 4.5 acres, just a long rectangle. That's our own little space, and it's nice.
You have your own eggs then, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Oh, yes, for sure. All the eggs.
Do all your customers get eggs too? Because you're like, get
Yeah,
rid of them?
some of them do. Honestly, yeah. If I have an abundance, I'm like, hey, do you want some eggs? Or some of my clients have turned egg customers too, because they're like, oh, you have chickens. Do you sell your eggs? I'm like, yeah, I sure do. I've got one great lady. She'll buy 5, 6, 7 dozen at a time. Like
Wow. Yeah.
her dogs just came this past week, and I was like, I've got 6 dozen eggs ready for you when you come drop off the dogs. So it works out.
Yeah, my dad had chickens for a while and but I live like an hour and a half-ish from him. So there'd be a
Mhm.
lot of times we'd be like meeting somewhere and passing, here's your eggs. Like,
Yes. Oh, yeah. I do a lot of like sketchy looking egg deals out in places.
and then for a long time too, I was saving egg cartons because
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
it became ridiculous. I'd be like, do you really need this many? Can I get rid of some? Like it was taking
I
over my
know.
kitchen, but
Yeah, you go through them fast, though.
yeah, yeah. And he had during COVID when eggs all of a sudden were really expensive. I was really
Uh-huh.
happy my dad had chickens and I was like, because well, at that time gas wasn't what it is now, but I was like, it's almost cheaper to drive to my dad's house an hour away to get eggs than it was to buy them in the
Yeah.
store.
Yep, I know. It's crazy. I was like, do I need to put a lock on my chicken coop? Someone come steal my eggs or come steal my chickens or something.
This episode of Groomer Tales is brought to you by Healthy Skin and Coat. Every grooming salon sees it. Pets struggling with itchiness, flakes, redness, hot spots, and irritated skin. Healthy Skin and Coat's skin-first grooming approach gives groomers a complete professional solution to cleanse, restore moisture, and maintain healthier skin and softer coats. Healthy Skin and Coat's powerful ingredients like chlorhexidine to help cleanse and support troubled skin, plus hydrocortisone to help soothe irritation and itching, designed to bring comfort pets can feel and results pet parents can see. Shop now at groomerschoice.com. Now, back to Groomer Tales. You said you apprenticed and then tried some other things, came back to grooming. So what do you think has been the biggest change in the pet industry during your time working in it?
The biggest change, like I started like when the doodles were kind of just, a part of it. You had your cockapoos and those types of things, but I've watched that kind of all blossom and seen all the different concoctions that they're coming up with and things. So that's been really big. But I think the tools have changed a lot too. We didn't have the wide blades in the beginning, and I wish I did because I learned how to my all of my dogs were like big dog shave downs. That's the dogs that they were giving me. So wider blades would have been handy, and the new scissors, like the chunkers, I think that's been a really cool new thing that I've seen come out, and I use those on almost every groom that I do.
You mentioned doodles. Do you think some of those tools probably came about because of the doodles, like to make?
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but that could definitely make sense because,
Mhm.
generally they're larger, denser coated dogs. So yeah, that does make
Yeah,
sense putting those two together.
supply and demand kind of thing, or yeah,
Yeah,
who knows?
absolutely.
I mean, but the wide blades, it was so funny. I know a local groomer here, and she goes, I don't know why I was so resistant to wide blades. Like
Yeah,
she was like, after I bought one, I was like, what was I holding out for? What was I?
I completely understand because I was kind of in the same boat, I'm like, oh, it's only, like half a bit more. And I was like, me. But like I said, I went ahead and got them and I do like them, but I will say I will still switch back to the smaller blade, like when I'm doing the legs and stuff
Oh, yeah.
like that on the smaller dogs, but on the bigger body area, like you could take a Shih Tzu down in just, a few passes. And so that's handy. But for me, I'm just a nervous Nelly. So I like the control and the familiarity of the smaller blade.
Yes, understandable. What is some of the best advice you've received, whether it was for grooming or opening a business?
For grooming or opening a business, not to turn it like religious or anything, but really just have faith that everything will work out, and that's just kind of how it's been for me in my life, just be faithful and know that the plan is set and that everything will be, kind of if you build it, they will come,
Yeah.
almost like I had faith in myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
So that was it for me, really.
I love that. If you build it, they will come. I mean, I'm from
Yeah.
Iowa and that line's from Field of
Yeah,
Dreams. So I love
exactly.
that.
Exactly. And that was it. And I was like, if I do it and it works out, great. If I do it, at the time I don't have a lot of overhead and it will be what it'll be, but it's blossomed into something really wonderful.
Yeah. I always love that line of, is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
basically the same thing. I mean,
I get it.
you mentioned grooming is physically demanding, and that's why you wanted a different tub so you could do it longer and all of that. So grooming is physically, but it's also pretty emotionally demanding. You get attached to these animals, and sadly, they do pass away, things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So how do you take care of yourself physically and emotionally in this job?
That's something that I always felt like I kind of struggled with in a larger environment. Almost just because I was so overstimulated and kind of burnt out in a way that it was a little bit harder. But now that maybe it's because I'm a little bit older and I can do things a little bit slower in my way, it's just kind of, I don't know. I have a different outlook on it. Oh, if this dog doesn't want to cooperate to get its leg done, we'll approach it a different way, a little bit slower. Whereas in a bigger environment, sometimes you didn't have that opportunity to do that. So I just take a breath and just take it as it comes, not even the best dog has a great day all the time. Some days are different. And if it's a hard day, then that's okay. And we'll try it again another day. And not to let myself get so worked up because dogs can smell it on you, they can just sense it on you. And so it's okay. It's just a dog haircut at the end of the day. If they come in and they get a bath and they get blow dried and just, a few trims here and there and it's, becoming too much, then they're going to go home and we'll try another time.
Right. And I'm
Not
sure
trying to.
yeah, and I bet most pet parents are, most of them, I should say, are pretty
Yeah.
self-aware that, oh yeah, I can believe that he did
Yeah.
that, or like, we'll try it
Yes.
next time.
It's a lot better. Like I've had my own clients for a while now, and working for myself, I've been able to pick and choose. And so I do have that luxury of being able to pick and choose and not taking clients that aren't respectful or dogs that are just too much. Like when I started this business, I promised myself and my husband that I wouldn't take on dogs that were too much for me.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's one thing I hear from even mobile groomers, just anyone that kind of works alone, is
Yeah.
you have to kind of keep, for
Hmm.
safety reasons too. Sometimes, like if a
Right.
dog's just, sometimes you just don't click with a certain dog and you got to let it go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had a boy who was really nervous and I brought him in one time and he was okay. Second time wasn't okay. Jumped out of the tub, really tweaked my back and it took about 2 weeks for me to get everything, back and that was kind of like, all right, I got to start putting my foot down on it. It's
Yeah.
tough. I want to help everybody and I want to see everybody. I just can't.
What advice would you give to a groomer just starting?
Just starting, advice to give to them. Really be patient with yourself. Understand that your haircuts aren't going to be great in the beginning. As you get more familiar with your tools and the routine, get your routine established so you don't forget certain steps. Like, I can't tell you how many dogs I've like, did I forget to do a nail trim, or trim one of their feet, or, and so it's just establish that routine, get comfortable with your tools, and just keep moving forward. You're going to learn as you go on. Like, I started as an apprentice. I didn't have, a really, I don't know, formal education, I will say that much. But now, years and years later, I feel more confident as a groomer. So just trust in yourself. You'll get there.
What's a mistake that you made early on that you would hope others would avoid?
With grooming in general or the business?
Either whatever pops to your head first, I guess.
I would say, like, emotionally. Try to regulate that and kind of get that in check, because I feel like if you are emotionally charged, like if a dog is frustrating you, or you're feeling compassion fatigue, it's okay to step back. And so when I first started, I was like, I got to get all these dogs done, and the haircuts got to look good, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and it was really stressful, and it was burning me out. So, and I would get frustrated on something that shouldn't be frustrating. So just getting yourself to stay neutral and just harnessing that and not letting yourself get so emotionally attached to it, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Just check yourself emotionally, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that goes back to the, it is emotionally demanding. So if you want to do
Right.
this long term, you have to be able to
Right.
kind of like
Yes.
zen. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. It can be compassionately fatiguing, for sure, for sure, especially senior dogs or difficult dogs. Like, I had a couple seniors the other day, and it was a harder day,
Mhm.
because you just don't know if it's going to be the last time.
Oh.
Yeah, part of it.
In this industry, we talked about
Mhm.
even before new tools and things, continued education is a big deal. So how do you keep up with new tools, trends, products, with everything?
So I watch other groomers and stuff online, so I get tools and tricks, and oh, I see how they're holding their scissors, this way. Oh, that makes sense. I want to try that. And just different tutorials, on how to do faces and things like that. I went to the expo several years ago, but I still picked up on quite a few things at that time that I've been able to translate into today. But as far as going somewhere for formal training, I don't really have the opportunity to do stuff like that right now.
There is a lot online for sure, and
Oh my
webinars and all that kind of
gosh.
stuff. So yeah, yeah.
Yes. I even get stuff coming across on my Facebook that's, oh, a little face demo tutorial, and I'll sit and watch. I'm like, oh, I can try that, and it usually works out.
Yep. You just got to be careful because there is a lot out there, but some
Hmm.
of it's not so good. But
Oh, girl, yes, or AI, yes, yes, yes.
yes, yeah. Oh, some of the AI stuff. I see some of that in the Programmer Network too, where it's like a dog being mistreated and they're like, this is fake. Like, why are you putting this out there?
Yes. Someone sent me one the other day, and it was like a de-shedding rake tool. And they're like, is this legit? And I was like, well, the tool that they're portraying is legit. However, them raking it towards the head of the dog is not quite. I'll send you a link for a tool if that's what you're curious about.
You mentioned having your apprenticeship. Did you have any mentors or influential figures who helped you along your journey? I mean, obviously in grooming, but maybe in the business side of things too.
I don't know. Yes and no. The girl that taught me how to groom, she was a power groomer for sure. She would do 6, 7, 8 dogs a day. And so I looked up to her in that regard. Wow, she can, really do a lot of dogs. But And then the lady that I worked for before I started doing it on my own, her and I have a really great relationship. And so had I not worked for her, like I wouldn't have someone that I would consider a good friend in my dog world. I would say I look up to Katie probably just because she's a mom and she has a crazy busy business and she's just doing all the things. So I really look up to her, and she's always had that inner calm, that I was talking about, that we all need to harness as groomers. It could be complete chaos here, but in with her, she was just like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Like she was just able to take that. And I always respected that with her. And I value the relationship that we have to this day, because I ended up having to have emergency appendectomy surgery back in March,
Oh,
which
dang.
was off really wild, out of the blue. And so I had to send some of my dogs to her because it took me about 2 months to really feel back to normal. And she took several of my clients for me during that time and sent them back to me when she was finished. And so I just really value her her as a person.
One of my upcoming questions is about collaboration
Yeah.
and working together, which that's a great segue,
Yeah.
because I think one of the overarching themes that I've come to find talking to people doing this podcast is there's not as much gatekeeping or
Right.
it feels more collaborative these days. And like you were saying, even there's enough dogs for everybody. I can recommend to you, you can recommend to me, we'll help each
Right.
other out,
Right.
So is there another example besides that one that you can think of, a time you collaborated with groomers or someone else in the pet industry even?
Nothing really comes to mind. I've kind of got my own thing, and I'm doing my thing and they're doing their thing. So it's just that. And I go to training at Katie's place too. So,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
a pretty small community, like
yeah.
where we are. So,
But it's not cutthroat or anything. You're not like, oh, the
no.
Miller's got a new puppy. Who's gonna get it? Like,
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, there are some clients that I'm like, please don't ever go anywhere else because I'd be totally brokenhearted. And I know she feels, the same way too. We all develop those special relationships. It's please don't leave. But at the end of the day, it's the owner's choice, where they go
right,
for
right.
whatever reason.
If you weren't doing what you do now, owning your own business and grooming dogs, what do you think you'd be doing?
Um, Probably being a mom full time. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just kind of changed. I've always been very career driven, but as I've gotten older, now that I have the two kids, I'm like, yeah, just a little bit of a priority shift. However, the business will never go anywhere. I get clients that I love and love taking care of. So there always will be Grooms by Sam out there. It might just be really small.
Yeah. So I know I don't have kids, but I have friends that do, and the mom guilt and all that sort
Uh-huh.
of stuff they talk about. But I
Yes.
think it's also good for your kids to see mom owns a business. She's doing what she likes.
Yeah.
That's still a good thing
Yeah.
for them to see and learn and all of that kind of stuff. So you're doing great.
It is.
All the
It's
moms, they're doing great.
cute. Well, thanks. It's cute though when Cameron brings something home and says, I want to be a dog groomer like my mom. I'm like, okay, well, she doesn't, have some sort of way that mom works, or some sort of feeling about it. So she's proud of me, wants
Yeah,
to do like
exactly.
me. So.
Exactly. Okay, so what is your favorite breed to groom and your least favorite?
Ah, such a loaded question. I don't know. I don't necessarily have like a breed. I think really just a nice dog who, isn't gonna jerk me around the table or, I love a good shed. I had one of my best boys this morning. He's a border collie, big border collie, but he's just a great boy. So really any dog who's nice, doesn't hurt me. And then least favorite, dogs that want to eat me. Like I had a newer one a few months, the crap out of my fingers, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not the groomer for you. So just nice dogs. Give me all the nice ones.
I know in the pet grooming world, weird is a relative term, but do you remember a time when a pet parent asked you to do a trim or something that was just seemed odd or
Yes,
nonsensical?
done I've done several bizarre ones in the past, not so much now, but one that I would do in the past, or yeah, in the past was a schnauzer, and like the stool, like, they wanted her shaved from the foot up to the body, but leave her body longer so they could run their fingers through her hair. But then also, we were never allowed to shave her mustache or trim her mustache at all. We could take the chin down, this, but leave this. And so she was like a sheep with a handlebar mustache. And that was her haircut forever. Like Lulu and her handlebar mustache. I can see it to this day.
And you're
So
like, don't
there's
tell
been some
anyone I
wild
did
ones. I've
this.
done a couple. Literally, literally, literally. And then, the mullet craze that was kind of popular when I was working at the shop. So yeah, I did several mullets. Ridiculous. So funny.
And we kind of touched on this with the working alone and not taking dogs that are too big or too anxious or things like that. But do you recall a time when you did have a dog that it was kind of a close call or dangerous? Because we can kind of learn from some of those situations too.
Yeah, yeah. So recently I took on a couple of, I think they're Morkies, brother and sister, year old, groomed yet. So a couple of red flags, but they were referral. I was like, all right, we'll give them a shot. And these dogs, they weren't really in terrible shape at all, but they still needed a fresh cut. So I took them down a little bit shorter, but it was getting close to the end. The female was really, really, really scared. And I just was not having any luck around her face. And so it got to a point where I was like, I just got to call it, for safety purposes, we got to call it. And then I was pretty straightforward with mom. If you want them to keep coming here, then we have to do an appointment in no more than 6 weeks to bring them back and refresh. And they come tomorrow. So we're hoping that there will be some improvement there. And I just hope for them that I can get them to a point where they're not so scared. Like,
Right.
it's okay. You're gonna get a bath, and I'm gonna talk weird to you, and I'm gonna scrub your butt and all of this. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna die. You're gonna go home with mom.
Yeah.
So I just am really hoping that I can work through that anxiety with them, because it's a big thing.
And then this is my favorite question to ask all the groomers. What is your best poop story?
Oh gosh. One that I remember off the top of my head, it's kind of poop, but I don't know. I think worse than poop. We had this dog one time. She had apparently gotten to a roadkill deer,
Oh no.
and she was eating it. And then in the tub, she kind of started to cough up and then proceeded to puke deer parts in our bathtub. So that was pretty horrible. I've had several diarrhea cases, but yeah, the puking up of deer innards was definitely on the forefront of grossness that I recall. It was really bad.
That's
Well, and
that's
then
a that's a new one. Haven't had
oh,
that one yet.
it was wild. And the poor bather at the time too, because the dog was worked up, and she was coughing, and then she was like, "Did this dog just puke up its own insides? What the heck is this?"
That's true. That
So
is true. Like
it
that is
was
scary. Yeah.
bizarre. Yeah, it was really gross and smelly.
Oh
So
my gosh, that poor
yeah,
thing.
it's definitely not all puppies and kittens and having a good time all the time. Not at
Yeah.
all.
And speaking of kittens, do you groom any cats or no?
I really don't. I have a really good friend who has a Maine Coon cat, and he is phenomenal, and I will groom him for her, but he's like a dog. So yeah, he is the one exception to my no cat rule.
Gotcha.
I'm just not trained on them, and the risk is really, really high for where I'm at right now. So, but Catman gets a
Gotcha.
free pass because he's a good boy.
Gotcha. All right. And then this part of the podcast I call quick snips. It's just a series of rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Okay. Your favorite animal from a TV show or movie?
Clifford.
Oh, that's a good. Okay. Your go-to coffee order?
Well, right now I'm kind of on these blooms right now, but
Okay.
if I was
Okay.
at Starbucks, I'd do a caramel macchiato.
Okay. What is your most used emoji?
Emoji. Probably hearts or the
Okay.
dog paws.
What was the last thing you binge watched?
Apex.
I watched that too. That was
So weird.
crazy.
I watched it last night.
And I do this every time I say it's rapid fire and then I get on a
Yeah.
tangent. But I am not outdoorsy at all. Don't like camping
Yeah.
or anything. That entire movie is just like a nightmare to me. Like
It was wild.
before she even gets hunted, quote unquote, it was a nightmare to me to even be like camping in a tent hanging off the side of a mountain. Never.
I'm good. I'm so good on that. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. One product or tool you can't live without.
One product or two you can't live without. I really love this Hydra dematting spray right now.
Okay.
It's some good stuff.
And then for this last one, it doesn't have to be work related. It can just be life, or it can be work related if you want. But what do you still wish to accomplish?
What do I wish to accomplish? I don't know. I just want to have a good life and be a good mom and be a good wife and to give my kids something to look back and say, life was crazy, but I always had my mom,
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
that. And then I started doing this thing where I have the last guest ask the next guest a question. And that is such a hard sentence to say, but our last guest was Wayne Hartley Jr. He's out of Atlanta. He's a groomer out of Atlanta, obviously. And he had a hard time thinking of a question. And even though, so he goes, I don't know, ask her what her favorite coffee is, even though, is it macchiato? Is that what, or is there something else?
Yeah, I would have to say the iced caramel macchiato from Starbucks. Yeah, is
gotcha.
my go-to. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a real hard time. And then, so our next guest is Tatum London. She's from Bemidji, Minnesota. She just became a master groomer and she owns her own salon as well. Do you have a question for her?
What is the goal? Like, since obtaining the master groomer's license, is there a next step? What's the next goal with that?
Where do you go from there when you're the master?
Yeah, because that's crazy. Yeah.
Here at the end, I will let you go ahead and give people your website, your social handles. Just tell us where we can follow Sam.
Like I said, I keep it pretty small. I'm just a one-woman show over here. But if you wanted to check out my page, I'm just Grooms by Sam LLC on Facebook. That's really about the only socials that I have for the business. But I always am posting my finished product pictures. My posts I always edit the pictures of the dogs, so you see some cute puppy pictures if you want to give it a follow.
Awesome. And you use that like your website too, right? Kind of get the.
Yeah, Facebook is just everything that I have. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to say that you didn't get to say? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah. Just thank you again for the opportunity to enter for that, the Great Groomer giveaway, and for choosing me as the winner. And just thank you for that, because it's truly changed. It's changed my business for the better, and I'm grateful for it pretty much every single time I'm in my groom room. So it's always in the forefront of my mind, just that like I won and they gave me all this stuff. So
and you've been
wild.
And I want to say thank you to you as well, because every time we've reached out for you to do something after that, you were like, yeah. So
yeah, except when I got locked out of my email, you couldn't even get a hold of me. What a mess. But yeah, I'm always down. And it's just because like it puts me out of my like comfort zone a little bit, but I feel like I want to do it just because I'm grateful.
yeah,
Super grateful. Couldn't have done it.
Yes. And you were great.
Because like I said, I keep it pretty small, but it's just winning that has just made a big difference in my small little bubble. So
Yeah, no, and that's one thing with Groomer Tales. I don't know if you looked back at all at our past episodes, but I like it to be with
I did, yeah.
I like it to be every type of groomer, you know. I want it to be a smattering. We've had veterinarians, we've had, you know, I want it to be a little bit of everything. So, because that's the grooming world.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Groomer Tales, a podcast by Groomer's Choice. Please rate, review, subscribe, and comment wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts. If you have any questions or comments about something you heard in this episode, please feel free to email us at groomertalespod@gmail.com. Until next time.